Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I am super excited to be filming this video because I never thought I would, but I just officially potty trained my toddler who is 2 years old in just 2 days. And I want to share with you what I did, but most importantly, what I didn't do. So if you don't know, my name is Marla. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3, and my oldest son, I started potty training him at 1.5 years old, and he didn't actually learn to be potty trained until he was 4, and it was a very overwhelming process. So I did learn a lot of things that just didn't work. So I made sure this time around when training my second son, who was just 2.5, I made sure to avoid a lot of those things that I did with my first, and it made a world of a difference. So I'm here to share them with you, and I really hope you guys get some good tips out of this video and maybe can implement them and apply them to you and your child. So I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to quickly just tell you what I did, and then I'm going to tell you what I didn't do. So my son Aaron, who's 2.5, doesn't actually talk well. If you followed me long enough, you know that we've actually taken him to speech pathology and stuff to help him use his words a little bit more and express himself. So it was a little bit more difficult trying to potty train him when he didn't talk to us and tell us, like when he has to go to the washroom and tell us certain things. So anyways, what we did was we decided that he was going like pooping in his diaper, and they were really large. He's a big kid, and it started getting to the point where it was just really gross, and we were like, we're done changing this diaper. He needs to start going on the toilet. So we got a little potty, the same one we used for my son John. It was just like a little one from Babies R Us, and we put it in the bathroom, and we tried to get him to go on the potty, and it took one full day of, sorry, that's my phone, but it took one full day of pure tantrums and screaming for him to actually even go in the same room as the potty. He was terrified of it for some reason, and he refused to sit on it. So we kept trying that day, and then the next day came, and we told him, sit on the potty. If you just sit on the potty, we're gonna get you a fire or some sort of toy, which he wanted a fire truck. We'll get you a toy, and that way every time you come in the potty, you can play with that toy. So he sat on the potty finally after so the one full day and about a day and a half of like forcing him and pushing him. So he finally sat, and we got him a fire truck. So I took him out to the store. We went on a little date and got him a fire truck. He loved it, and he realized now that like potty's not such a bad thing. Maybe I should give it a try, and he did. He still had a hard time, and we would have to stay with him, and we still would have to beg him to go on, but he did it. So this would be day 2.5. He finally started sitting down. He didn't actually start peeing until day 3 or day 4, if I remember, but it was a huge accomplishment getting him to actually sit down on the potty. So that was massive. So what we started doing was trying to get him to go on the potty at the same time that my older son John would go. So they'd be there together, so he could see his older brother going and maybe feel a little bit more confident in trying to go on his own. And it did help a little bit. He would, you know, be okay with going to the potty if he saw his brother on there. So that was really good. Sorry, so by about day 4 was when he finally actually started trying to pee in the potty. So he did pee once, felt over the moon. We made a huge deal about it, like full celebration, clapping, music, dancing, everything. We were so proud of him. We did such a big celebration that he kind of got excited, and we still had to fight him to go on and remind him. He never told us at this point, I have to go to the washroom, but he was starting to get confident. So this is when we kind of started the day. This technically to us was day 1 of potty training, when he actually sat down and went pee on the potty. And then within 2 days he was trained. Excuse me. So it literally it was a miracle. He sat on the potty, he peed, and then I was like, okay, this is gonna take us, you know, like as long as it took John 3 years to figure this out. So I was prepared for the worst, stocked up on hundreds of pull-ups, things like that. Put him on the potty, and then I realized that I kept putting him on the potty every 15-20 minutes, and he kept his pull-up dry, and I was like, oh wow, he's been dry all day. This is like huge for a kid who's on day 1 of potty training. So I was like, you know what, I am gonna do something different. And this is where the tips that I didn't do come in. With my son John, can you be a little quieter please, John? He doesn't nap anymore, so he's right here on the couch. With my son John, when he was potty training, I had him in a pull-up for years because I was so worried about having to constantly clean up pee and poop messes. I was like, just put him in a pull-up, and anytime he had, like, I'll put him on the potty every 15 minutes, but he'll still have a pull-up on, so if there's an accident, it's not a big deal. With my son Aaron, I decided, no, we're not gonna do that. As soon as he kept his pull-up dry for one day, I was like, you're going right into an underwear, and we're gonna see how this goes. I figured if he does pee, he's gonna feel uncomfortable, because my son Aaron hates to be dirty. He hates water. Like, he hates to be wet. He hates anything like on his clothes. So I figured if he does have an accident and he feels so uncomfortable and stressed about it, he'll make sure he goes to the potty the next time. So I took off his pull-up. I tried to put an underwear on him. Again, it was a battle. He hated to even wear pull-ups. So that took a long time to get him to wear a pull-up. But then switching from a pull-up to underwear, he was even more stressed. So what we did was, again, took him to the store. So this would be technically day 2 of potty training. Took him to the store, picked out some Paw Patrol underwear. He felt super excited about it. He wore them instantly as soon as we came home. And right then and there, he decided to go on the potty on his own. I'd remind him once in a while, but he just would get up when he feels pee coming and he would go on the potty. He did have a couple accidents, but they were never done out of laziness. They were because he hadn't gotten his timing right. Like, for example, he'd be sitting at the table having lunch. He'll go, oh, pee-pee. He'll run to the washroom, but by the time he pulls his underwear down and actually gets on the potty, he would have peed. And it's just because he doesn't understand he needs to give himself a little bit more time to get to the bathroom, and he would wait till the last minute of, I have to pee, to actually go, if that makes sense. So he figured out his timing now, but he had a couple accidents. The other time he did poop in his underwear, and that was also an accident. He said he had to go to the washroom, but my older son, John, was in there. We have one bathroom, unfortunately. And he couldn't hold it, and he went in his underwear. That was the only time. But other than that, he just went, as soon as he wore the underwear and he had the accident in his underwear, he realizes, nope, I cannot, this doesn't hold my pee like my diapers used to, and he just started going on the potty. So by the end of day 2, he was just going on his own, and I thought this is just like a good day. It's gonna regress, he's gonna get worse. Never did. It got better. That night, the very first night he wore underwear, I actually put him to bed in his underwear. I made sure he went pee before bed, didn't let him have too much water or fruit before bed. He woke up in the morning dry. He called us actually at like 2:30 a.m. and I just hear, Mama, Dada, pee pee. So we woke up, we're like, oh, what's going on? We went to his room. He said he had to pee. So we took him out of his crib and put him on the toilet, peed no problem, and went right back to bed. And so we my husband and I looked at each other and we were like, is this actually happening? Like, he's actually waking up at night to pee and not peeing in his crib. Like, it was a miracle. And every single day for the past week and a half, he's been doing that. He's been waking up at night, has to pee, or he just sleeps through the night and then wakes up first thing in the morning, climbs out of his crib on his own and goes pee. But either way, he has stayed dry. He has not wet his sheets once. And I bring it all down to not putting him in a pull-up at all. As soon as he figured out like what potty means, we're like, pull-up is gone, we're wearing an underwear, and I just went cold turkey with the pull-ups, and I'm so glad I did because I feel that because of that, he just realized that he can't pee in his underwear. Whereas with John, he knew if he has an accident, it's not gonna leak, so he would get lazy sometimes. And it took forever to train John, and I think that that's where I went wrong. So if you are looking to train your child, I recommend just going right into the underwear. You are gonna have a couple messes to clean up, but it's so worth it in the long run. It really cuts back on the time that it takes to train. After Aaron was going on the potty for about a week, we decided to scrap the potty because I hate the transfer of the poop to the toilet and then cleaning out the potty. So I was like, you know what? Let's not even bother with the potty. Instead, we got him to just use the toilet. He gets onto a stool, sits down on the toilet, goes right into the toilet, and that's it. And this was the easiest I've ever thought it would take to train my child. I expected the worst because of what happened with John. I stalked him on so many pull-ups. I didn't use any of them. He is just so good. And now, like I said, he will, if I don't give him any water at night, he'll sleep through the night, wake up in the morning, and go on the potty on his own. Doesn't have accidents. He holds it all day. If we're in church and he has to pee, he'll just tell us and we'll take him to the bathroom. We make sure he goes to the potty before we leave the house if we go shopping. And it's been that simple. From where he is now to where he was in the beginning, it was brutal. He, like I said, would pull like full out tantrums. He did not want to use a potty. He was terrified of it. He was terrified of pull-ups. But then 2 days later, to be fully potty trained, it's like a miracle. I'm assuming there might be some regression. There was never regression with John, but that's because he was 4 when he officially figured it out. But for Aaron, he is only 2.5, so there might be regression, but he actually always stays dry. He loves using the potty. He goes on his own. So I'm hoping for the best. I will keep you posted, but I'm pretty certain this is it. He's trained because it's been about a good 2 weeks now of this potty training and he's been doing great. So like I said, my big tip is number 1, buy them a toy that they know is their reward for going on the potty and for learning how to potty train or getting potty trained, and then go right into underwear. Get them their favorite character. If it's a girl and she loves like Frozen, then get Frozen underwear. If it's a boy and they like Bop the Builder, find Bop the Builder underwear. So they're excited about it, but they know like they cannot have an accident or it will get everywhere. Another thing that I want to say I did, and I'm going to completely open up and be honest about it, with my son John, when he did have accidents in his underwear, I would get so upset at him and I would be like, why did you do this? I'd make him feel really bad about it. I'd make him feel like he failed, whereas and I find it never, like, it would just make him upset, and it never actually improved in terms of, it never helped him improve going on the potty in terms of, you know, how he felt after I would, you know, get upset at him. Whereas my son Aaron, I took a different approach, and I was like, no, I understand that they're children and this is a huge learning curve and a huge learning process for them. So I was more patient, and if he did have an accident, I'd say, it's okay, we're gonna try again next time. You gotta give yourself more time to get to the bathroom. I was way more patient and took a whole different approach. And when he realized that I wasn't actually upset at him for having an accident, he didn't feel so ashamed and so bad. And he would just go on the potty, and if he did have an accident, he would just tell me right away. Like, he wouldn't be scared to tell me. He'd be like, mommy, pee-pee, and he'd feel really bad, but I'd be like, it's okay, we're gonna just try again. And it worked so much better this time around, and I definitely learned a lot. And my daughter Lily, who is 1.5 years, is already trying to go on the potty because she wants to copy her brothers. So I'm probably gonna start her potty training in about 2 months. She'll be 2 in February, so she'll be close to 2, I think, when I'm going to start potty training her, and hopefully that goes really well. I'm going to definitely use these tips, no pull-ups, you know, a really gentle and accepting approach, and get her some sort of reward, and I think it's going to go great. So I really hope you guys, you know, can use some of these tips. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. You can follow me on Instagram for like daily what goes on in my life. It's at Marla's Healthy Life, and yeah, we'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.